Sharon, could you give us a little bit of a précis about what is American Fiction about?
Yes, it is about a man played by Jeffrey Wright, who is a writer of literary fiction. It's slightly elevated based on the myths and sort of legend. And he is published, but he isn't living off of his earnings as a writer. He's working as a university, lecturing on literature, and he's had a little bit of a falling out with his university over some of the language he uses that um, some students have found offensive, namely the use of the N word. He's a black
Yep.
man, and
Yep.
he says, if I'm not offended by it, then why are you? But obviously the faculty don't agree, so they've said, have a break and work on your next book, that sort of thing. So he goes home, which is, I believe, like the northwest coast, sort of like looks like Connecticut.
I think it's Boston. It's Boston.
Boston. It's in Boston. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so he goes back there, and he's sort of his mum is getting elderly and a little bit forgetful, a bit of sort of Alzheimery. He's got a sister who's been her main caregiver, and he's got a brother who's recently sort of rediscovered his sexuality, and so he's sort of exploring his own inclinations elsewhere. So he's then sort of stuck in this rut, and he writes basically not as a black writer. He's a writer who just happens to be black, and he is sort of fighting this battle basically against the establishment, who have this idea that black American writers can only write about the black experience, but only a particular type of black experience. And whilst he's in a bookshop one day, he sees this book by a popular sort of American writer that is sort of like taken off by storm. And basically, this is a young woman who's been raised in privilege. She was privately educated, got a job in a publishing house, and then produces this book called something like "Yo, we just live in the hood" or something. And they say, "Could you read us a quote from your book, please?" As a well-educated woman, and she goes, "Yes, I'll read your passage." And she's really well spoken, and she opens her book, and it's like, "Yo, shut up!"
It's like, yo, Sharonda, is you pregnant again?
Yeah.
That's right. You what? You did not. And it's all like that. And he's saying, and the people love it because it's like it's real. It's like authentic, and it's like it's genuine, and it's actually it's none of those things. It's not writing from her experience, but it is like what people expect a black writer to write.
Yes.
And so he one day, in like a fit of pique, he decides he's going to write his own book, and it starts off as My Pathology with an F, and then they changes the name later on, but we're not going to go into that in this show. And he writes it like as if he were a gangster. He's done time. He's writing a gangster, and he's writing like his life story. Everything you'd expect, like a deadbeat dad, a criminal brother, gunfights, drugs, baby daddies, that sort of thing. All of these tropes. And then he sort of sent it to his publisher, who's this sort of literary publisher, who goes like, "You are having a laugh, aren't you?" He's going, "No, just send it out, but don't put my name on it. We're going to make up this character." And they send this book out, and basically it takes off like a rocket. Everyone raves about it. He loves it. And basically this book is everything he hates about the literary world. And then the story unfolds about what happens about this book. Johnny.
So he pretty much writes a parody, and everybody thinks he's being serious.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And when he starts the book, I like the bit. I don't know about you, Sharon. When he's first starting the bit, and the actual characters are saying, "Wow, what we did," and actually, I thought that was quite good.
He visualizes them, and they sort of
he
play out in front
visualizes
of him.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
And
they're
they
visualized,
act,
and then whoever, the actor's saying, would I say
What
that?
do I do next? What am I saying next?
What am I going to do that really? But yeah.
He talks about one of them talks about his complexion. He says,
That's it.
and he turns to the art writer and says, "Would I say complexion? Would I really say that?
Would I say that? Yeah.
And he goes, "Actually, no." And then you see him deleting that text while the actors are waiting there. He goes, "Oh, yeah, and now I'm going to say, would you look?" And he talks about other things. Yeah.
What I mean,
Very cleverly done.
For me, what I got out of this was I mean, they would say the family are probably fairly middle upper class family, haven't they? They've got like a house in there, a beach house in there.
They've got a country house. Yeah, they've got like a second home, as we would call it.
But what I really liked that family interaction as well, because it shows. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, I don't know if it was like there was like a juxtaposition of like how we perceive, like they do in the book, how we perceive, the "Yo, Sharonda," all you gangsters.
Yeah.
What are you doing? All the swearing.
Yeah.
But these were a well-to-do family. but they still had the family problems, and I really, really liked that. And that's where that actor that we were talking about, the up for best supporting actor, I thought he was absolutely
Sterling K. Brown.
I thought he was brilliant. He was so believable, especially the scene on the beach. And I think it's in the trailer where, you want to talk to me? It's the bit in the trailer, but I just think he is. And for me, what I got out of it was the family interaction. A family with all their problems, with all their arguments, but they get on, they're good. I really liked that. And I was sort of thinking, well, this shows that there's a lot of families in America, that are doing really well, as well as because we do.
You mean black families?
Black families, yeah.
You mean black families, yeah.
But well-off black families that still have problems,
Yeah,
100%,
yeah.
Still have family problems, like most families do, probably all around the world. So, yeah, I mean, I picked that up from it. I thought that was really, really good. Anyway, but also when he goes, we're going to get the film rights, and it's like he goes, right, you got to go and meet the director, and he's like, I don't know.
I think there's a scene in the trailer, because I haven't seen this yet. I haven't seen it because I'm guessing this was a preview screening you guys saw.
It was, yes.
A mystery screening. We didn't know what we were going to see.
Mystery. Yeah, so it isn't actually out around me until next week Wednesday. But I saw the trailer for this before Christmas last year, and it was one of the funniest things I'd seen all year. Like, the trailer alone was probably the funniest film one of the funniest films I saw all year last year, because I think I know the scene you're talking about where he has to go meet a director, and so he has to act like this character who wrote this book that is totally different. Like, he has to act like this gangster when he's actually I would say upper mid class guy who's been brought up with a certain thing, and
he's a university lecturer. That's like, he is an author of literary fiction. It's like he is not,
He's not from the streets. He's not from the hood. He's never had to carry a dime bag of whatever to Mookie down the street or anything like that. But that's the only thing people are willing to accept. And the concept of this film, I love. The concept of this film is something I was like, I need to go see this film. And I'm just sort of like, and don't worry, when it comes out, I will go see it and I'll let you guys know what I think, because I think that I just love the fact, as I told Sean earlier, I reckon there's going to be a lot of things in this film that, as a black guy, I would have thought, yes, that, why that? But also at the same time, not being American and being African, I feel like there's going to be a difference, and I think it's going to be really interesting. What I find is the same, or what I find that I can't connect with.
That's
Part
right.
of me couldn't help but feel that as well, the joke was partly on us as an audience, because I'm thinking we were sat there on the Isle of Wight. I think it was an entirely white audience there watching it, and we were laughing at the jokes like where we're supposed to laugh at the jokes. How sort of he was like highlighting the ridiculousness about how people perceive how he should be and then how he actually is. And part of me thinking, I wouldn't recognise a real voice of Black America if it came up and sort of poked me. So I thought in some ways the joke was on us as the audience as well, a little bit, because I was thinking I probably wouldn't get it, so whatever they sort of sold me, I'd probably go, oh, okay, because I wouldn't be able to discerning enough.
And that is how they live in America. That is how every black person in America lives.
But also, I really like the pretentiousness of all the
literary people and
the literary people, and it was a real super parody of them. Or like they're gushing. Oh yes, it's fantastic. And the bit when he says, "Oh, I want to change the name of the book," and they're like, "Let's think about that." And it's just like
bold. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's brilliant. And they are really, really pretentious. And also
brave. You're so brave.
Yeah. When they got to do the critics, when they get all the literary critics together, and you've got like the stereotypical one, like you know what I mean, the one and all that.
Okay.
And it's just like it's
all right. Yeah. Everything you're saying is only making me want to watch this film now. What makes me want to watch this film now? I need it here right now. But okay, so. Before anything else you want to say before I ask you how many stars?
I'm just
Jeffrey Wright, excellent. I think he's been around a long time.
He has.
He sort of hovers slightly under the radar, doesn't he? In a lot of things. But no, I think he was absolutely amazing in there.
Yeah, I think the whole cast was. I think it was absolutely, and even like I say, the scene where they're writing. There's an actor. I mean, I should know his name, but he was in with I can't remember. They Live, the John Carpenter film. They Live.
Oh, Keith David.
Keith David, that's him exactly.
Keith David,
yeah,
absolute legend. Absolute
Keith
legend.
David. So Keith David pops up, which is not for long, but yeah. So
it's funny how you said that. You said They Live, and I was like, well, there's only one black man in that film, so, so it's gotta be Keith David.
It was Keith David, yeah.
Yeah, so yes, or no, it's not. It really makes me want to see it. And the funny thing you say about Jeffrey Wright is, I feel like this film might actually be a little bit personal for him, because I remember the first time I ever saw Jeffrey Wright, he was in the John Singleton remake of Shaft, and yeah, he was in, and that was the first time I ever saw him. And he was acting opposite Christian Bale. That film, for not a good film, it has a stupid cast. So like he was playing against opposite Christian Bale, and he was playing a drug dealer who was getting Christian Bale to sell his drugs at like the higher episode. And so he was like he was essentially playing the kind of stereotypical thing that he would probably have written in this. But ever since then, I've seen him move away from that and be able to get things like Felix Leiter and play like the roles he played in Westworld. And I feel like this might actually be partly his story of what people expected from him when he first started as an actor to where he's managed to get to now. So how many stars?
For me, it's a four star. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a really good movie. Yeah, 4 stars.
I'd say again 4-star. Yeah, absolutely
Good.
4-star.
4 stars for American Fiction, by the film that I just cannot wait to see. Okay, and now
just say something else he'd been in. He was in the Hunger Games as well, which he was superb in.
who was he in the Hunger Games? Oh yeah, no. Who was he in the Hunger Games?
He was one of the participants in Catching Fire.
Yeah, he was
the scientist.
Oh yes,
he was a previous champion. You know, when they all went for a tribute, he went back because they got all the previous winners to go back in the arena again.
Yeah,
and so he was in 3 of the 5 films, and he was superb.
Yeah, no,
he's always superb.
Jeffrey Wright is pretty much, he's uniformly excellent in everything he's in. Even in something that goes off the rails like Westworld. So anyway, let's go